Respond to it. Now, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Wike, has expressed optimism that despite its challenges, the People's Democratic Party will not die but remain as a viable opposition. Well, in Abuja, the minister hosted members of the party under the aegis of concerned stakeholders of the PDP. Now, those at the meeting included members of the defunct G5 governors, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, Samuel Otom, and Okezie Ikpeazu, with the exception of Seyi Makinde. Now, it was not immediately clear if he was invited. Now, others at the meeting include the embattled PDP National Secretary, Senator Samuel Anyanwu, former Senate Minority Leader Philip Aduda, serving, and former federal and state lawmakers and some zonal and state party executives. Now, Wike says the concerned stakeholders are those who have always believed and who still believe in the survival of the PDP. Okay, that's another matter, an interesting one too, for that matter. Maybe you have a response to that. But let me throw this in very quickly. You know, you once PDP. Okay. Now, you once said that Tinubu, Atiku, Obi should step aside from running for president. Do you still believe that?
Now, you see the difference between personal opinion and the collective. When you are moving into a coalition, you subordinate your own personal interest to the collective will. And so I said it, even as at that time I said it. I said in a coalition, if I am part of it, whoever is trumped up in the coalition, I will support the person. But personally, I would have preferred a new set of leaders. But you see, when you are fighting an incumbent, it's a different ball game. You will need the unity of everybody in order to succeed. You can't, I'm a Democrat. I can't force my own opinion. I stand by my opinion. But when you now have other people in a coalition, they also have their own opinion. They will present strong reasons. But do you know one thing about democracy? Eventually it operates in the comparative, not in the superlative. But at the end of the day, the choices you have do not include even the ones you wish to come. You can't go and force anybody from his home to come and contest. So from the available, pool, one thing I have always said is that Peter Obi or Atiku will be better than this regime. That I am sure of.
Okay, so
because Atiku was the vice president during Obasanjo's regime. This regime has beatified every regime that was before them.
So you're okay with
any politician that can take us even to Obasanjo's days will be celebrated as a hero.
You're okay with the old guard, as long as they meet your conditions.
Very well.
Great, but I go back to that sense of urgency or the lack of it thereof, and I really want you to speak to that. Also, I wanted you to speak to. Can you speak to the urgency? I think I lost my train of thought now.
All right.
The sense of urgency.
Now.
Yes.
They say, I'm using legal analogy. Justice delayed, for instance, is justice denied. But justice rushed is justice crushed. If in your haste to be urgent, you fall into the trap of not negotiating very well and carrying everybody along, that is where your statement that is dead on arrival comes in. You have to. The urgency is needed, but you have to be very methodical.
Great, I remember my point now. You say individuality has not come into the conversation yet.
Not for now.
Okay, so address this that is also out. Two political parties that are being put up, the ADC and the ADA, registration of one and using the other. There's also the SDP on ground saying they are the beautiful bride that should be used for the coalition. Why is it that you have not been able to meet one? I mean, a camp is pushing for a registration of one party. Another camp is pushing for an existing party. I mean, if individuality has not come into play,
why is it taking long?
Why is it taking so difficult to pick a party? After all, it's a vehicle.
Now, like I told you, all these stories, they are not reflective of the facts. We have committees set up, different committees addressing the different issues. There is a committee to know whether we can register a new party.
They passed their deadline. They passed their deadline.
No,
your committee has passed the deadline.
But I told you, that's why we have different options. So we have the committee that is negotiating with different parties that are already existing.
Right.
It is those ones that meet our criteria that we will eventually choose. So the coalition has very clear mind
very
on
quickly
what
before
they
before we let
Okay.
you go, Kenneth, we're being wrapped up
So-
seriously.